Hello, welcome to Xinhua Live. I'm Wan Pengqi, joined by my colleague Xu Penghang. May the 18th marks the International Museum Day. Here we are at the Hubei Provincial Museum in central China.
The Hubei Provincial Museum is one of China's most renowned museums, housing a large collection of state-level historic and cultural relics.
At this time of the day, the museum is closed to all visitors except for you and us, and we are fortunate to embark on an amazing nighttime treasure hunt.
During today's journey, we will first appreciate the beautiful sounds of an ancient musical instrument called bianzhong, and then we will head to the exhibition halls and to see what precious treasures they have here.
So now let's head to our first stop, the concert hall of the museum.
On the stage is a 1-to-1 replica of the set of bells unearthed in 1978 at the tomb of Zeng Houyi, also called Marquis Yi of Zeng. The tomb is situated in Suizhou, a city about 200 kilometers from here.
And as we can see, the instruments consist of 64 bronze bells divided into 8 groups with 3 levels. On the top level, there are 19 bells and 33 in the middle level and 12 on the bottom.
All the bells are of different sizes. The biggest one weighs over 200 kilograms, and the smallest one is only 20 centimeters high and weighs 2.5 kilos. The wooden sticks used to strike the bells were also unearthed at the tomb of Zeng Houyi.
And by the way, the Marquis Yi is the ruler of Zeng, which is a small state subordinate to its powerful neighbor, the state of Chu, which is part of what is now Hubei province.
Let's take a closer look at the bells and see how they work.
Maybe you can try to play the bell.
So now I'm going to learn a song, Ode to Joy by Beethoven, on the ancient musical instrument. And she just told me that each bell actually have 2 tones. And when you strike here or here, the bell sounds different. So now I will try to play this song. Wish me luck. Okay. 好好听，谢谢。That was really amazing.
The bells of Marquis Yi were made in 433 BC, which is over 2,000 years ago. And the bells we just played on the stage is actually a replica. And to find the original bells of Marquis Yi, let's get inside the exhibition hall. This is the exhibition hall for the bells of Marquis Yi. To know more about the bells, please welcome Wei Quan, a guide from the Hubei Provincial Museum. Wei, so please first say hello to our viewers.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Wei Quan, an interpreter from the Hubei Provincial Museum.
So let's get inside the exhibition hall and know more about the original bells of Marquis Yi. So Wei, firstly I want to ask you about the owner of the Marquis, the bells of Marquis Yi. Can you tell us about the mysterious owner?
Of course. Marquis Yi of Zheng lived in an era where the heroes sprang up and 100 schools of thought contended. In this era is the ancient major civilization have reached to their peaks. And also this era is known as the Axis age of the development of the human civilization.
Yes, I have to say the bell is so big, it's giant, it's marvelous. And Wei, as far as I know, traditional Chinese music is generally composed with 5 tones, 宫商角徵羽, right?
Right.
And as we can see, the bell is composed of so many bells. So how many tones can it play?
The bells can play the 5 octaves, but thanks to the 2-tone capability of this, the bells, as I said, can play the whole and complete 12 tone in the scale. And also, he can play the melodies in diatonic and pentatonic as a whole.
As you just mentioned, one bell can play 2 tones. So how does it make it?
As we can see, the shape of this bell is quite special. The feature of the bell are shaped like 2 tiles joined together. So when you strike in the front and sides, it produces with 2 different tones. And actually, the tones can be produced with 3-degree harmonious relationship. And also the tone is called 和瓦 in our Chinese.
And we've just heard the sound of the bell from a replica in the concert hall. And I'm curious does this bell have ever been played before?
Yes, this bell has been played before after the excavation and also for the testing of this musical rhythm.
Oh, so in this exhibition hall of Marquis Yi, is there any other cultural relics you want to recommend to us?
Yes, as we walk here, we can see this is a quite complex relic, and this name is called Jen drum with this bass. And from a distant view, we can see that it's quite complex. But however, if we take a closer view, we can discover that it consisted with different dragons, numerous dragons. And in about 2,400 years ago, those dragons' color was golden color, so it's quite beautiful. And also, our Asian ancestors had decorated the turquoise, quite special diamonds on the surface in each body of these dragons. As we can see here.
Oh, I can see the green.
The green
part is
the remained turquoise of that time.
It's a green diamond, a kind of stone.
Right.
Which is very precious, right?
Quite precious.
Quite precious.
Yes.
And you've just mentioned, and this complex pattern is actually 9 dragons, right?
Right. As we can see, the dragon's head and the tails.
And what's the function of this relics?
This is actually a musical instrument. If we see here on the board, that's the function of this drum.
So the use of this thing is to hold the drum, right?
Right, that's the drum bass.
It's a drum bass.
Right.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's how it's played, this picture.
Oh, you put the drum on the bass,
right. And strike it.
And the player strike the drum.
Right.
So that the drum won't, it will be stable, right?
Right, and also it's quite easy to play because the height is quite high enough.
Oh, it's high enough for a grown-up to play.
Right.
And is there any other relics you want to recommend?
Yes, as we walk from here, we can see that
just behind the
chan bells.
The chan bells.
That's a wooden stick.
Oh, I saw it. I see it. It's a long wooden stick.
Right.
So what's the wooden stick used? What's the purpose of this stick?
As we can see, the lowest part of this chan bells is quite heavy and quite huge. So at that time, the Asian people used this wooden stick to strike, only to strike the lowest part of this chan bells.
So this is
the 2 sides.
It's a bell striker, right?
Right.
for the player to play the
Yes.
bell. And I noticed that there are also some small bells on the top. So this small bells is actually played with a smaller strike, right?
A smaller hammer.
Hammer, that's called
yes,
hammer.
Hammer, it's not a strike
And
anymore.
this is used to play the big
Yes,
the big
only
bells.
the lowest, the biggest part.
Oh, that's amazing. And can you give us a general introduction to the tombs of the Marquis Yi?
The Marquis of Zheng, his tomb was actually unearthed in 1978, and the whole tomb is about 220 square meters. It's quite large, and also it's quite complete. At that time, 2,400 years, and all those long years, but however, the tomb is stayed in the original shape. It's just quite precious at that time.
So do you know how many cultural relics unearthed from the tomb?
It's about 1,500.
1,500?
Yes, 1,500.
That's quite a large number.
Yes.
And we've just appreciated just a little part of the cultural relics unearthed from the tomb. So on the upstairs, what other kinds of cultural relics do you recommend?
Oh, there is a quite decorated and wooden case used for hold their clothes and their jewelries. It's called 28 constellation wooden case.
A wooden case?
Right, made out of the lacquered wood.
So this is the wooden.
This is the relic.
The relics. It's a huge case.
Right.
Used to put your clothes inside that. Right.
Right, for the clothes and the jewelry, such as.
Is there anything special for this?
The specialty of this case is quite our pride, because on the surface there is a map, and according to the map, our museum made out of a 28 constellation map on our roof. And this is actually the first discovery of our Asian people to research about the sky.
We can see there is a board to
Right.
showcase us the details of the patterns.
Right.
So can you give us more detailed introduction to these patterns?
This pattern is actually on the surface of this case, and the first one is in the middle one is the 28 constellation that our ancestors have been researched. Actually, as we can see, the left is the dragon. On the right, there's a tiger.
And you mean this is actually a tiger?
No, on
This-
the left, that's
This
the
one is a-
a dragon. Right, it's a tiger.
This is a dragon, this is a tiger.
Right.
Oh, it's hard to tell
Yes.
actually. And so what kind of a person can use this kind of case?
Marquis of Zheng.
Marquis of Zheng?
Yes.
So the ordinary people will not
Right,
have
royal family.
don't have the
Yes.
rights to use that.
Yes, we can see it's made out of the lacquered wood, and lacquered wood is actually quite precious at that time.
It's a symbol of the honorable status, right?
It's not the symbol, but this is quite expensive.
Oh, normal people cannot afford that, right?
Normal people will use smaller, like the balls or the cap. The case is this case belongs
So
to
the
Marquis.
lacquered case means there are some patterns painted with some special paints, right?
Right, and this special paint has somehow protected from the decay.
So how was your journey today, and which artifact impressed you the most?
Okay, I would say the sword of Goujian. It's so impressive that after over 2,000 years, the sword is still sharp and has no rust mark on the sword.
There's no doubt that the sword of Goujian is one of the most important treasures of the museum, and actually they have made a lot of cultural products based on this sword. For example, in my hand is a mini version of the sword. As you can see,
So what's the function of this mini sword?
It's actually a public transportation card. And it has all the decorative patterns and the characters that are the same as on the real sword. And it's really useful.
Yeah, and it's very cute.
Yes, indeed.
And there are also many other kinds of creative products in this area. For example, look at here. This is a teacup shaped after the bells of the Marquis Yi. So I believe it would be so interesting to drink out of this cup.
These are some really nice gifts to bring back home.
Yes, and the Hubei Provincial Museum has a great amount of collections. We cannot show you them all in one night. So if you come to Wuhan, I highly recommend you to come to the Hubei Provincial Museum to see these exhibits yourself.
The theme of this year's International Museum Day is Museums, Sustainability, and Well-being. Hope you enjoyed our tonight's show, and that's all for today's live tour. See you next time.
See you. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome to Xinhua Live. I'm Wan Pengqi, joined by my colleague Xu Penghang. May the 18th marks the International Museum Day. Here we are at the Hubei Provincial Museum in central China.
The Hubei Provincial Museum is one of China's most renowned museums, housing a large collection of state-level historic and cultural relics.